Alrighty, guys, time to wrap it up for today. It is Monday, February 10th, and we're back up again. So, 2 o'clock came, went in not a big directional push. A couple of attempts to take it lower, but not much really to drive this market one way or the other. So, they are holding on to their gains. I'm still holding up, maybe a little bit of a pullback here going into the afternoon. The fact that they can't take it higher kind of sets up a potential little retracement here, but it's question is just if it's going to be big or not. I don't think it's going to be that big. If anything, a rotation back here into these lower areas. But it's definitely as long as they hold the I would say the 60-65 area, and I would stay on the long side of this, looking to buy weakness. If they start trading below that 60-65 area, the London low, that's when I start thinking about the short side. So leaning in on it, not leaning in, but biases to the upside still. If they start taking out this area, the 6100, they still have to clear the 6110 before I really get excited by the long side. So still looking for shorts against the 95s and the 6110s. Then we'll see if that's going to hold or not. But pretty tight range today. We said this morning we started off with a bias to the upside, and we were not expecting a big directional day, but it's so mostly a range bound day, and that's pretty much what happened. And no news trading day after Super Bowl. Yeah, that's not rocket science that it's going to be a little bit of a slow day, right? So no trades for me today. I haven't taken anything. I've not find a spot really to. I've been looking for a potential short setup here, at least a nice potential head and shoulders pattern. Just didn't go very far. They ran a little bit lower stalled, and it's like, yeah, there's no volume really to drive this. So I was not totally surprised when they stalled, start trading back up again. And once that happened, it's I figured, okay, there's no big retracement, at least yet, back to the mean. But then again, at this point, I would probably be more inclined to try to get short against that 92, the last half hour, if it trades back up to this level. So if they start popping up here a little bit, could set up a nice short for a little rotation back towards the mean. We'll see. I doubt we're going to see a pop making new highs going into the close. But so if anything, I'm thinking either it's going to stay range bound or we may see a little bit of strength and then a little rotation towards the mean. But we'll see. Anyway, unless they take out that the 65 here, it's going to be the 65, 60, 65. It's going to be quite a bit lower, basically below that initial balance low. I'm not going to worry about the short side. All right, so that's the ES going into the overnight. That news for tomorrow. We see news for tomorrow. We have a small business optimism index at 6 a.m. We have a speaker at 8:50. Jerome Powell speaking at 10. 3-year auction, and it's Williams speaking at 3:30. So Powell speaking at 10 potentially could be a market mover. But that's about it. That's all really the news we have for tomorrow. Looking at the bonds and the NASDAQ. Bonds just kind of holding in a range right now. Not a lot of directional moves at all. So I would just stay range bound on bonds. If anything, they have reverse retested 24 and the 29s and right back down again. So if anything, I'm going to be looking for them to try to take out the 115.08s, start retracing this back to the 115, maybe reverse retest at that level is in store for us. But as I said, not going to be getting long against 08s and the 114.30 to 115. Definitely opportunities. That would be a reverse retest of that support area. All right. So starting off with a slight bias to the downside, let's see if they can take it lower. If it holds at the weight, we may probably say sideways or may even see a retracement back up again. So that's bonds, the ES, or the ES, NASDAQ. The NASDAQ. Definitely, okay, that was it. So the NASDAQ heading higher. They have cleared the 21,830. They're holding above it between that one and 80. So I would start off on the long side. This could be a nice retest failure setting up right now. So we have one rotation up here, a new high, another rotation which did not make a high. So this is almost like a small head and shoulders kind of pattern. So this could be a beautiful short trade setting up against the 880s, 90s for a move to the downside. We'll see if it materializes. At this point, pretty much going to stay on the long side. until they start taking out this low at the 750s, the day session low. If that comes out, I'll take off the long bias and start looking for the retracement down to the 500s. So initially looking to buy against that 820 edge, against the 790s, and then against the 740s for rotations back up. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about on NASDAQ. But I haven't traded anything. I've been watching the potential short. I was super close right here in that little bar right there. As you can see how they're going sideways, sloppy, but it's not going higher. And here I have it start this kind of slop on the side, but it just screams I'm not going to try to take this lower. So I was almost in there on a short, and then it just kind of ran away from me. It's like, oh, okay. That's just gets you. Sometimes you sit there and hesitate for too long. So I was looking for them to trade back up again, try to get short right at the edge there, but no, didn't happen. And I was just, but I could have gone in short just a few ticks lower. It just kind of sat there and watched it for a bit. And then, of course, as you start heading lower, you start feeling stupid, right? I should have taken that thing. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, doesn't matter. So at this point, looking for potential move lower, heading back towards the to the midpoint or the mean. Let's watch these lower edges. At this point, I'm just thinking some not weakness into the close, but I'm not thinking a new high. So pulling back a little bit would probably be a good setup for a potential long trade. Let's watch that 740, 750 level. That comes out. At that point, where bets are off, and then are going to be heading lower. And that would be basically the initial balance low here going into the overnight. So that would be this low right there. So that'd be a pretty good move if they get that far down. So okay, we'll see. Finally, oil and gold. So gold still holding on to their gains, way up, holding. And so far, I'm just going to adjust here. It's going to be one edge now, one new edge at 29.25, one down here at the 20s. And it's going to leave this one at 11.12 here. So looking to buy against those edges, the 25s, the 21s, the 12s for rotations back down. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on gold. We'll see. It looks to me like they're trying to take it higher. So I'm not going to be aggressive on the short side at all. It's pretty much a move out of the middle to the upside. And you do not want to step in front of it until it kind of signals that we're done. The buying is over. And then finally, oil to the upside, up here against the 72.70s. That's the slow grind. I would look for shorts against that 72.60 70s and that 72.90s for rotations back down again. That's kind of what I'll be looking at on oil. But they've been pretty range bound, so we'll see how that develops going into tomorrow. All right, so you can see I just placed the test order today. That was it. Has been busy doing some other stuff, and the time I watched it has been not obvious setup, not any obvious setups. And a day like this, the difficult part of a day like this is really that you're thinking long side of the market as this starts happening, but they're really running out of gas against these upper areas of resistance. And when they start looking like this, they try to take it higher, fails, the new lower high, hits the new lower high, lower high, lower high. At this point, you have a spot for potentially getting short. This is a nice retest failure setup. And after that one, they have been trading lower since. So once you start seeing something like that, the always little S's gives you an indication, and you start thinking about short side of the market. That's your aggressive short. And the way I would trade those is not necessarily wait for them to start trading lower because you give up a lot of trade location. I would look at this and try to get short against the little pop to the upside. It gives you, kind of have it's a little bit like stepping in front of it. But if you're thinking that the market is trending lower, those little pops is exactly when you want to get short. It gives you great trade location. And if you're wrong, you can have a fairly tight stop on it. So I started trading it that way. I started to be a little bit nimble. More than often, the times I wait for that is an outside bar like that to trade higher than lower. You get short on that breakdown. More than often, you have to sit there and wait for fade some heat because the trade location is just not great. So the better way to trade that is when it starts trading higher. It's kind of awkward because it almost feels like the market's going to go higher, but that's the time you need to step in front of it. So we'll see. All righty, guys. We'll wrap it there for now. I'll see you bright and early in the morning for another pretty slow news day, except if Powell steps in it. He can certainly set this on fire. So We'll see, but that's 10 o'clock tomorrow. Alrighty, guys. See you in the morning. Later.